In this Canon EF Lens 101 video, we're going to talk about Canon's STM lenses. STM stands for stepping motor. It's a special type of focusing motor built into the lens. And you'll find that these lenses really shine when it comes to shooting video, as well as still pictures using live view. The best way to see what an STM lens can do is to look at an example. Notice how you can hear the sound of the autofocus motor in the video. Not to mention, it may hunt for focus more than a lens with STM technology. Now, let's take a look at an example of a video taken with an STM lens. For starters, it's really quiet, and notice how smoothly it captures the focus and follows it continuously. You'll see incredibly smooth focus transitions when you move from one subject to another, and in particular when you focus on anything that's moving. Whether you're recording video of your kids playing outside, a bride coming down the aisle, or sports and action subjects, Canon's STM lenses give you consistent, sharp imagery. How do Canon's STM lenses perform so well? The stepping motors that drive their autofocus are engineered to stop and start extremely smoothly, without the hesitation or roughness that other focus motors sometimes deliver. This super smooth stop and start performance isn't only a factor when you press the button to start focusing. For technical reasons, the way focus information is gathered when we read off the imaging sensor during live view or video shooting means the lens is driven in many small start and stop motions. This happens whether we're simply transitioning from a near to far subject or when we continuously focus with servo AF on something that's moving. Either way, with STM lenses, this is translated into seamless motion, not abrupt and jerky focus movements. STM lenses can focus steadily on moving subjects and keep them in focus. Combine a Canon STM lens with a Canon camera offering dual pixel CMOS autofocus, and you've got a superb combination for live view still image shooting and for video where your subject is on the go. Canon offers a variety of interchangeable lenses with this STM focusing technology. You'll find STM lenses within our EF lens line, our EF-S series, and for our mirrorless type cameras in the EF-M lens series. You'll see STM right in the lens's name if it uses this smooth and quiet AF system. Next up in the series, we're going to completely switch gears and go into the close and personal world of macro photography.
In this part of the Canon EF Lens 101 series, we're going to cover macro lenses. Lenses that help make little details seem big. So what is macro photography? Macro photography is all about photographing objects that are really close to the lens. See, most lenses have a minimum focusing distance, and they won't let you focus on things that are just inches away from the lens. But special macro lenses, like Canon's EF-100, let you get really close. Macro photography is great for photographing things like flowers, insects, jewelry. For example, if you wanted to get really close to show off the detail on a flower, a macro lens works great. Or let's say you wanted to photograph some seashells on the beach. Not only do macro lenses let you get super close to show off all the intricate details and patterns on the shells, but they also do a great job of creating that soft, blurry background that really helps those patterns and details stand out. So let's talk about some tips on using macro. First thing is, you're probably going to want to be on a tripod. With macro, you're shooting so close that any camera movement becomes really apparent in the final photo. Next, if you have one, using a remote cable release or even the camera's auto timer so that you're not shaking the camera when you press the shutter. Focus is really important. You want to focus on the part of the subject you want to be the sharpest. And when it comes to macro, f-stops can be really important. Let's say you're shooting a flower at a low f-stop at like f2.8. Even though you're focusing on one part of the flower, not only does the background become out of focus, but the rest of the flower itself can quickly become out of focus and blurry too. So you may need to increase your f-stop to maybe f11 or even higher to bring more of the flower into focus. Now here's one more tip. Even though macro lenses are designed for close-up work, they also work great for other types of photography, especially portraits. Canon's 100mm and 180mm macro lenses are favorites among some of the portrait photographers out there. As for lenses, Canon has a total of 6 macro lenses which range in focal lengths depending on just how close you want to get to your subjects. And for those of you that want to get into macro even deeper, make sure you look at the MPE 65mm, which lets you photograph a subject at up to 5 times its normal life size. Now, next up in the series, we're going to switch gears and we're going to go really wide with the unique perspective of a fisheye lens.
Howdy everyone. Today I'll be taking a look at a very successful modern lens from Canon, the EF 40mm f2.8 STM, for full-frame or APS-C digital SLR cameras. It can easily be adapted to work on mirrorless cameras too. Nowadays it costs about £125 or $150 US, so it's nice and cheap. The build quality of the lens is nice. Obviously, it's tiny, but being based on a metal lens mount, it actually feels quite well made. There is no image stabilization on this lens, unsurprisingly, considering its size. For autofocusing, this lens uses an older version of Canon's STM system. It's meant to be silent, but as you can hear, it's not the fastest autofocus motor either. You'll also be able to hear those noises through your camera's microphone if you're shooting video. But at least the autofocus is nice and accurate, and the STM autofocus motor means that it should work quite efficiently with Canon's newest cameras. The manual focus ring is electronically coupled to the STM motor. It's not hugely responsive, but at least the focus ring turns quite smoothly. Overall, the build quality of this lens is perfectly nice. I love pancake lenses. 1.8 STM. Both lenses are very small and well made. The 40mm lens is a bit sharper at the same focal lengths and has that wider angle focal length, which is perhaps more practical. But the creative possibilities of the 50mm lens are far more impressive, being much better for portrait pictures and anything else where you want a very out of focus background. The 40mm lens is optically, technically, a better performer, but really, I think I'd recommend the 50mm lens any day for its creative potential. Have fun making up your minds.
Capturing the light and the darkness. A camera designed to realize creative dreams and bring a world of color and vibrancy to life. Creating visions for the future. We believe that a high-performance lens is essential to the pursuit of unprecedented image quality for filmmakers and photographers. To enjoy a greater freedom for lens design, we have developed the 54mm large diameter mount inherited from the EF mount. From large aperture lenses that provide sharp images to f2 zoom lenses that offer beautiful bokeh, we've realized lenses that could not be achieved with previous lens mounts. To make these lenses possible, we've created a new camera system that enables maximum optical performance, the EOS R system. At the core of this breakthrough in optical design is the large 54mm diameter mount, augmented by a short back focus through the use of mirrorless technology. Yet high image quality is only one of our goals. Ease of use takes precedence over design, and we are constantly seeking to enhance usability. Users will be able to keep their eye on the viewfinder and their focus on their subject, thanks to intuitive dial placement and new features, including a control ring made possible by the introduction of the new RF mount communication system. While the EOS R system is compatible with our extensive EF and EF-S lens lineup via a choice of adapters, it's an innovative optical system that sets a new standard and opens up exciting possibilities to those seeking to capture their creative visions.
The Canon EF-16-35mm f2.8L Mark III is the third version of Canon's well-known ultra-wide zoom lens. A favorite among landscape photographers, the new version of this popular zoom incorporates several improvements over its predecessor. It uses a large-diameter glass-molded dual-surface spherical element and features fluorine coating on the front and rear elements to help prevent smears and fingerprints. Like its predecessors, the new 16-35 is water and dust resistant, and Canon claims the new lens boasts better durability. The air sphere coating should provide better resistance to ghosting and flare. 9 aperture blades ensure an almost perfectly circular aperture for attractive bokeh. It also scores over its predecessor in terms of off-center performance while improving upon one of its most revered qualities, beautiful sun stars. For Canon shooters, especially landscape photographers, there's no better wide-angle zoom. For more information about the Canon EF-16-35 f2.8L Mark III and all things photographic, head to dpreview.com.
The Canon EF-M 32mm f1.4 STM is a lightweight, standard prime lens for the company's range of APS-C format mirrorless interchangeable lens cameras. Offering an equivalent field of view to a 50mm lens on full frame, the EF-M 32mm is the fastest lens currently available for EOS M photographers. An STM motor delivers fast, almost silent autofocus in both stills and video modes, and a wide, nicely damped focus ring provides precise control over manual focus if required. Despite weighing less than 9 ounces, the EF-M 32mm contains a lot of glass. Optical construction comprises 14 elements in 8 groups, including one spherical element. Canon's super spectra coating helps control flare and ghosting. Optical quality is excellent, even wide open, and bokeh at wide apertures is very pleasant, making this a good lens for casual portraiture as well as for everyday shooting. For more info, the Canon RF 24-105mm f4L USM is a versatile standard zoom lens for Canon's full-frame mirrorless RF system. The RF 24-105mm offers a maximum aperture of f4 and built-in image stabilization, making it a useful lens for day-to-day photography. The stabilization system is rated for up to 5 stops, which increases the usefulness of the lens for low-light imagery and slow shutter speed panning. This durable, weather-sealed lens features spherical and UD elements, as well as air sphere, super spectra, and fluorine coatings. These increase image quality, and also help prevent dirt and raindrops from adhering to the front element. Nicely balanced on the EOS R, the RF 24-105mm is well built and sealed against dust and moisture incursion. Like all of Canon's RF lenses designed for mirrorless, the RF 24-105mm f4 uses a focus-by-wire system for very precise manual focusing. Autofocus is extremely fast, smooth, and silent for both stills and video, thanks to a nano STM focus motor. In addition to focus and zoom rings, the 24-105mm also incorporates a customizable control ring, which can be used for a variety of purposes, including quick exposure compensation. For more information on the Canon RF 24-105mm f4L USM, visit dpreview.com.